Good afternoon. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted via WebEx, an online digital platform, and will be live streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. My name is Nancy Oman, and I will be chairing this hearing. Panel members participating via WebEx and who can be seen and heard are Lisa Valentini, Peter Reid, and Larry Clay. City staff will be assisting us throughout the meeting, including moderating the WebEx platform. Agents, applicants, and other interested parties participating in this virtual hearing registered in advance and will be connecting through WebEx using a compatible electronic device. Their participation will be through audio only. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and it is now home to many diverse nations, Inuit and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment for the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to the property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision for an application must submit a written request by email to the general email address for the Committee of Adjustment, Toronto and East York District Office. Please include your name, address, and an email address. All Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB notifications and appeal dates will be sent by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, also known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, known as LPAT. Appeal instructions will be set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. Participants who have registered in advance will be connected to this virtual hearing and will be muted automatically upon entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with his or her presentation if required, and the committee may ask questions and/or take the matter directly into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you're reaching the 5-minute mark. When addressing the committee, please speak slowly and clearly state your name and address. Please confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. When required, the applicant or agent will proceed first with a presentation of the application, and then individuals in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have completed their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent will be unmuted and will have an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will be taken into committee for a decision. Please note, the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice are informed of any changes. Staff or panel members, are there any interests to declare for the afternoon items?
No, Madam Chair.
No? Panel members? No? Okay.
Nope.
Seeing none. Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, are there any requests to withdraw or defer in the afternoon?
Through you, Madam Chair, there's no applications to be withdrawn, and there are no requests for deferral.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now proceed with item number 11, which is the first item on the afternoon slot. 16 Inglewood Drive. Panel members, we have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a covering letter from Joe Iozzo, the agent, correspondence in support from number 18 and 14 Inglewood Drive, and we have a letter on behalf of the Moore Park Residents Association. And I believe we have one speaker other than the agent. So is the agent on the line? Or, sorry.
Yes, I am.
Yep, you can hear me. So can you please, for the record, state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Joe Iozzo, 167 Richmond Street East, Toronto.
Okay, thank you. Because we have one speaker, I would ask that you please do a presentation. You have no more than 5 minutes. So I'm setting the clock to start now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, members of the committee. This is a request for 16 Inglewood Drive. The presentation is divided into 4 sections: the existing building, the proposed additions, the requested variances, and the neighbor's consent. The existing building, 16 Inglewood Drive, is a detached dwelling located on the west side of Inglewood Drive. The neighboring properties 14 and 18 Inglewood Drive are also detached dwellings. The property abuts Mount Pleasant Cemetery and Cremation Center at the rear of the site. The current owner is Kate Subak, and she has lived there since 2012. The proposed additions came about due to the fact that there were some ongoing building issues with the house in terms of water management, leaky roofs, improper insulation, and frozen pipes over the wintertime. So the proposed additions take into these items as an overall design solution. The proposed additions are a ground floor addition at 4.9 square meters located at the northwest corner of the house and is intended to increase the kitchen area of the house. The proposed ground floor addition is to be built in alignment with the existing house, which is on the north property line. The proposed second floor additions, one is at the northwest corner, being a 2-story addition at 4.9 square meters, and the second addition is at the southwest corner at 6.7 meters squared. The intent of the second floor addition is to basically square up the rear bedroom and closet area. The total proposed additions come in at 16.5 meters squared, or 177 square feet. The requested variances are 2. One is based on floor space index. The existing floor space index of the house right now is 0.81 times coverage. The proposed request is for 0.87 times coverage, a delta of 16.5 meters squared. The other variance is the side yard setback. Since the building was built on a 0 lot line, we would like to maintain the existing alignment of the house with the proposed north addition. Final point, neighbor's consent. The owner, prior to the Committee of Adjustment application, asked her 2 adjacent neighbors if they would have any concerns with the proposed additions and work. After the neighbors confirmed that they would have no objections to the proposal, the owner proceeded with the Committee of Adjustment application. As you noted, please find the 2 letters of support and the 1 letter from the Moore Park Ratepayers Association, who believe this proposal to be minor in nature. We believe the proposal for 16 Inglewood Drive requests the 2 noted variances are minor in nature and meet the 4 tests of the Committee of Adjustment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Iozzo. And I will now ask Mr. Gowan to go ahead. And again, for the record, please state your name and address.
Jeremy Gowan, Moore Park Residents Association. For the record, whilst I did email the owner of the house to say that we thought the changes were minor in nature, it is not a formal letter to the committee, and it should not have been used as such. We, as usual, reviewed this. We spoke to the neighbors. We would normally have had a problem with the FSI, but in this case it seemed that neither the neighbors were concerned, and frankly, it didn't seem to affect anybody else. So we have no position to take on this one.
Thank you, Mr. Gowan. Panel members, do you have any questions of the speaker?
Nope.
No? Okay. So if I can have the agent back, do you have anything to add, sir, before I go back to the committee members?
No, Madam Chair, I do not.
Okay, thank you. Panel members will take it into committee. Any comments?
Well, I thought this was quite minor, just a rounding out of the rear of the building. It already extends out a certain distance, and this is just kind of filling in the two quadrants. I thought Mr. Iozzo did a really good presentation. It was very helpful. And in my view, these are quite minor and appropriate for the neighborhood.
Okay, any further comments, members? If not, we can go.
I would just agree. I think it's, it's the massing is really kind of concentrated and hidden to the rear, and it's a reasonable, kind of modest size addition. So I agree with you, Larry.
Okay, Mr. Clay, did you want to go ahead and move a motion?
Sure. I'll move a motion to approve this application. There are, I don't believe, any conditions.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, then I'll just move a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the application, moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? Okay, the application has been approved unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item is item number 12, 91 Westmoreland Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a covering letter from Joshua Chittiz, the agent, as well as a previous decision affecting the property. Go ahead. Can I please have you state your name and address for the record?
Yes. My name is Joshua Chittiz. My address is 23 Foxwood Road, Thornhill, Ontario, L4J9C4.
Okay, panel members, do you have any, do you need a presentation, first of all? And if not, do you have any questions? Do you need a presentation?
I don't need a formal presentation.
No? Do any of the members have questions of the agent?
Sure. I mean, in more of a, I understand this is a construction oversight or error, but just for my benefit, can you explain how that comes about?
Yes. So the basement wasn't lowered basically as low as it should have been, and it's the ceiling height was 36 centimeters higher above the ground. So in essence, the first floor platform was raised slightly, which increases the number of exterior stairs from on the side and rear of the building from 3 to 2 respectively. So because of this internal floor alignments, these variances are triggered, all 3 of them. There is no change to the overall height of the building. The building height complies with the bylaw, and it's actually below what the previous building permit allowed for.
Any further questions, panel members?
It's Lisa Valentini speaking, and I was just looking at the prior decision. So these aren't variances that were requested in 2015 when it was first before the committee? These are new variances? Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Any further questions? Okay. No?
I'm prepared to make a motion if nobody has any other
Okay,
comments.
so we'll take it into committee then.
It's difficult when these matters come before us with construction error. It's not something we ideally would like to see, but you pointed out, and it's not something I realized, is that the overall building height has stayed the same. I guess there's not a variance for that, so it's not like the impact is going to be in terms of the overall height of the building. I think the variances you're requesting for sidewall height are quite minor. You're asking 0.963 meters and 0.95 meters is required. And again, the same for the first floor, the height of the first floor above grade, it's minimal. So while it's not, you know, ideally not great for this kind of thing to happen, and I don't see this, if I look at the prior variances granted, I don't think this is compounding or worsening those variances either. So I think this meets the 4 tests. I think it is a minor variance, and I'm prepared to bring a motion forward for approval.
Okay, any further?
Second that.
Okay, any further comments? If not, okay. So I have a motion moved by Ms. Valentini to approve the application, seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? Okay, your application has been approved unanimously. Okay, the next item is item number 13, 63 RUSHOLME Road. We have before us a copy of the survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. And if the agent could please state his or her name and address, please, for the record.
I am Mikko Taipale at 63 Rusholme Road. I am the agent and the homeowner together with my partner, Dorothea Metzel.
Okay. Panel members, do you need a presentation?
No, thanks.
No? Okay, are there
No,
any?
I'm good.
Yeah, okay, do any of you have a question of the agent?
I might. I noticed this is a semi, right? Is this a semi?
Yes, that's correct.
So have you, I didn't see any letters of support, but have you, I always ask whether the adjacent semi has been consulted and whether there's any concerns on their part. Do you know of any consultation that's taken place with the adjacent semi?
Yeah, we talked to our neighbor and we're doing the party wall agreement right after this committee meeting, so it's all set.
Sorry, so they're fine with it?
Yeah, they're fine with it, yes, correct.
Okay, just to confirm, it's a semi, just because the purpose says it's a detached dwelling, so we'll correct that.
Can I just point out one other thing in terms of the application? And maybe I'm wrong, but when under floor space index, it's got the meters square as 1,215.4 meters square is the permitted, and then 1996.1 meters square. Is that correct? That can't be right.
That must be square feet, actually.
Do you have the correct
We're probably
number?
going to want to correct that because that's huge.
I wish we had this big of a house, but we don't.
Staff is just checking. If you can just bear with us a second.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
And while staff's checking, I'll just confirm, this addition is like 1 square meter, is that correct?
It's less than 1 square meter, correct?
So you're just filling in that angled portion at the rear?
That's correct, yes.
And doing some other structural work and the roof deck, and the deck's there, right? Or no,
It's not there yet, but it will be.
the roof is there, but yeah, okay.
So FSI must already be pretty close to being 1.1 then, is that, must already have a pretty high FSI.
Okay, the Deputy Secretary Treasurer is going to weigh in here. She's been looking up some of the numbers.
The zoning review actually refers to square meters, and it has it says 1,215.4 square meters. So maybe the applicant can do the calculation and tell us what it is in square meters. And I have a feeling that is square feet.
Did you hear that, Mr. Taipale? Are you able to just?
I did, yes.
Okay, if you could please do the accurate calculation so we can change it.
I'd like to jump in just for a sec. On the site plan, which is just 2 pages after, it's on page, can't see, but the 3rd page of this
Okay, we're going to put it up.
application package. It has the GFA existing and proposed in meters in the statistics box on the top, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so should I calculate something now or no? Is this okay?
Do you still need the calculation? Yes, we do. We need the calculation.
It is the 185.44, right? This is the gross floor area. Is that correct? So current is 184.71 and the proposed is 185.44.
Do you know what's permitted?
112.91.
No, I want to know what the zoning examiner has, though. So, 1996.1 square, well, square feet.
That's correct. 185.44.
Okay. So, through you, Madam Chair, that variance, so the permitted FSI, which is 0.69 times the area of the lot, or 112.91 square meters, that should say. And they're proposing 185.44 square meters.
Okay, just to make sure I got it right, 112.91 is the permitted, and they're going to 185.44.
That's correct.
Okay, to the applicant, those are the calculations then that the numbers will be changed to.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah? Okay. All right. Members, are there any other questions?
No.
No? Okay, so then we'll take it into committee. Any comments and/or a motion?
No comments here. But I'd move a motion
Okay.
if no one else has a comment. I think this is really the definition of minor, and I can see no impacts at all on adjacent properties. So I'd move to approve with the variances as altered, as stated by the chair.
I'll second that. I agree with that.
Okay, I have a motion to approve this application with the amendments to the second variance as stated. 112.91 square meters is the permitted FSI, and they're going to 185.44. So the motion was moved by Mr. Reed and seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? The application was approved unanimously.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is item number 14, 153 Madison Avenue. The committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a previous decision affecting the property, a staff report from the acting supervisor, tree protection, and correspondence from 147 Madison Avenue. If I could ask the agent to please state her name and address.
Hi, my name is Jillian Amos, and my address is, I'm the agent and architect for this project, and my address is 626 Briar Hill Avenue, Toronto.
Okay, panel members, do you need a presentation? Okay, do any of you have any questions?
I was just, maybe you could just help me understand the difference between where we are right now and the previous decision.
Oh, of course. Okay, so the previous decision in 2015 was for a one-story addition at the back of the house. And also they did a garage at the back as well. And so what we're proposing is to do on top of a portion, about 2/3 of the one-story addition, doing a second and third floor addition on top of the existing, which would actually then match up with the semi-detached dwelling at 155 Madison Avenue. So it would kind of match up with that a bit. We're actually proposing less floor space index than 155 Madison Avenue that had 1.21 floor space index, and our third floor is smaller. It's not exactly the same at the back, so we're proposing 1.18 times the area of the lot.
So you're not going any deeper than the existing one-story addition, is that correct?
No, not any deeper, and in fact, we're not even filling all of it in either.
Is one of the letters of support from the adjacent semi?
So the letter of support is actually from the neighbor to the south, not the adjacent semi. My client did attach the plans of what we were doing and put it in their mailbox to let them know and tell them that if they wanted, they could contact us, and they did, and I don't think they have any issues with it. So my client, they purchased the property a few years ago, but they haven't actually moved into it yet. They've been renting it out to a tenant. And then so they haven't actually personally met the neighbor at 155 Madison Avenue, only because when they've tried on occasion, they haven't been home. But as I said, they've notified them with a letter of what they were proposing and asked them if they wanted to speak to them about it, and they didn't seem to have any objection since they have the same kind of arrangement.
Thank you.
Any other questions, panel members? No?
That answered all my questions, I think.
Okay, so let's take it into committee then. Any comments?
Given
Go ahead.
Given
Lisa.
what the agent has just said about the attached neighbor being at 1.21, and this proposed second and third story addition is over the existing footprint of the one-story addition at the back, I would, and adjacent neighbor, not the attached, but the adjacent neighbor on the other side seems to be in support of it. I think that this all together, I think this is an incremental increase. I don't think there's really any significant impact, particularly around the attached neighbor. And in my view, this would meet the 4 tests of a minor variance.
I'll second that.
Sorry, was that Mr. Clay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I have a motion to approve, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr.
Subject
Clay.
to the
number
urban
2.
forestry condition?
Yeah, including forestry condition number 2. All in favor? Okay, your application has been approved unanimously. Okay, the next item is item number 15, 221 Indian Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have an arborist report prepared by Urban Forest Associates, a letter of explanation from Mr. Menard and Ms. Ambasser, the applicants, and correspondence in support from residents on Grenadier, Marmaduke, Constance, and High Park Gardens. Okay, if the applicant can please identify herself or the agent.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wanda Ely. I'm the architect and acting agent for the owners at 221 Indian Road.
Thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation for this application? No? Are there any questions from the members to the agent?
Not from me, thanks.
So there are no...
I have one question.
Okay, go ahead.
So just one question. I guess in terms of the FSI, on paper, it looks like it's rather a big increase from 0.6 to 0.84, but am I correct in that I've noted that the existing is already over, the existing FSI for the property?
Yes, that is correct. The existing FSI is already at 0.79, and we are asking for 0.84.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions, panel members? No? Let's take it into committee for a decision.
I'll move a motion. I think that, to Ms. Valentini's point, that, yeah, the FSI isn't a huge increase over the existing 7.9, and looking at the elevations, it's quite clear, I think, that this increased density is well managed within the structure of the lot. And the fact that it's a corner lot as well, I think gives it an additional breathing room. So I move a motion to approve with no conditions.
Okay, I have a motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reid. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Your application has been approved unanimously.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you. The next item is item number 16, 63 Tiverton Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a staff report from Heritage Preservation Services. We have 8 form letters in support, signed by residents on Tiverton Avenue. One of them is adjacent at number 61. Okay, if I could have the agent please identify himself.
Good afternoon, members of committee. My name is David Smith. I'm here representing the homeowner at 63 Tiverton Avenue.
Thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation?
No, thanks.
Okay, do any of you have questions of the agent? I thought it was fairly minor, so if there are no questions, we'll take it into committee.
Actually, I just do have one. I
You have one?
question,
Okay,
just
we're
to
coming back
clarify.
out of committee. So Ms. Valentini
about
has a
that.
question.
I noticed it's a 2-story townhouse, and you're putting a 3rd floor addition on. And the way I read the plans was that the addition is set back so that it's not going to be visible from the sidewalk or the other side of the street. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. And for what it's worth, we were approved this time last year for 61 Tiverton to do the mirror image of exactly the same addition. So it's
Okay.
something that is appropriate, something Heritage has been supportive of, and certainly set back, yes.
Okay, so this is going to match the 3rd story of the adjacent neighbor.
You got it, exactly.
Oh, even better. Okay, thank you.
You've seen the report from Heritage, have you?
I have, yep.
Okay, any other questions before we go back into committee? All righty. So any discussion, motion?
I'm prepared to bring a motion forward. The fact that this 3rd story addition is going to not be visible from the street, and in fact is going to mirror the attached townhouse at 61, which I think is even better. There's going to be minimal impact, if any. This Heritage has no issues with the 3rd floor, and I do have a condition, though. So I'm prepared to bring a motion forward for approval of the application subject to the condition that's set out in the Heritage Preservation Services memo.
Okay, do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Sorry, who, I don't know. You both spoke
Peter.
at the same time. Peter? Okay.
I beat Larry, yeah.
Okay. I have a motion to approve, including the condition from Heritage listed in their April 30th report, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? Okay, the application has been approved unanimously.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. The next item is item number 17, 168 Wildwood Crescent. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have 4 photographs of neighboring properties that are showing front yard parking precedents. We have a staff report from Tree Protection and Plan Review. And we have 5 form letters in support signed by residents, 4 residents on Wildwood Crescent and 1 on at 796 Woodbine Avenue. If I could have the applicant or the agent please identify himself.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Danny Martel, and I'm the owner of 168 Wildwood, and I live at 34 Wembley Drive in Toronto.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation for this item? Okay, do any of you have questions of the applicant? And actually, is Ms. McRae on the line? I know, yes? Okay, so we do have somebody who wants to speak to the item. So I'm going to ask Mr. Martel if you can do a brief presentation, please. You have no more than 5 minutes. Okay, I'm starting the clock now.
Okay, thank you very much. So we bought this house like back in October last year, actually September last year, and it was a single family home, and we want to do a duplex out of it. The garage was already transformed into a bedroom. There was already a bedroom in the garage, and it was just like little storage space in front of that bedroom. So the garage door was still there. And so now what we want to do, we want to transform the rest of the garage into like one big bedroom and replace the garage door with like a large window that will bring a lot of lights, and it's going to be better for egress in case of a fire. And also, so one of the variants is the parking in the front of the house, and like we've said on the drawings and the pictures included, like most people park in front of their house anyway, so most people use the garage as storage. And the other variants, it's the I guess the front turning the garage door into like a window. But I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna look good. It's a nice window. We're gonna put some planters in front of the wall too. So I think we're gonna do like a very nice transformation. And it's been done like in areas just on the other side of the track, like just behind, like on I think it was Hanson Avenue. Yeah, Hanson Avenue. We had pictures of that too. That people had already done that. And yeah, and I just want to make it legal, make everything safe. Like I'm a firefighter with the city, so like fire safety is very important. And did all the electrical. We have 2 separate meters, electrical meters. All the fire code's been respected. So that's our project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. McRae, if you could please state your name and address for the record.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry. We were just calling in to get more information about the project.
Okay, well, this is the
I think
action.
that sounds great.
Yeah.
I guess the question would be, I'm sure you know there was lots of renovations on this street last year, and it resulted in lots of traffic. We've had a few flat tires in our vehicle for nails and stuff on the street. So it's just a concern that, when this happens, that, there's some consideration for cleanup and, maintenance of the street and allow us to have street parking still.
Okay, those are very valid concerns. However, those are outside of the jurisdiction of this committee. We're strictly looking at the variances that they need to continue with the project. Your concerns would be better addressed to directly speak with Mr. Martel, that they sort of clean up after themselves during construction for the nails and whatnot. That's not, we can't make, we can't build that into any decisions we make.
Okay, fair enough. We voiced that.
If you have any concerns about the actual variances, then we can listen to them, but if you're okay with the actual project, then these are civil matters that you'll have to talk to the, either the owner or the applicant.
No, it sounds fine. It sounds like it'll be a great building.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Mr. Martel, if you can undertake to maybe speak to Ms. McRae at some point, just to alleviate some of her concerns. And do you have anything to add with respect to the actual variances?
No, I have nothing else to add. And then, yeah, regarding like the nails and stuff, like I've been, like it's always been in my driveway, like if I had like a bin or anything for the construction, so I always clean up. So like the nails probably be like, there's a lot of roofs done on the street, so most likely the roofing nails. I had one actually in my tire and it wasn't from my site, so yeah.
Yeah, they do tend to jump around.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you can maybe just be cognizant of the concerns raised. Okay,
Sure,
panel
yeah.
members, are there any other speakers of the applicant? Okay, we'll take it into committee.
Well, I'll start off. We always like to see opportunities for bringing more rental accommodation into the city. This is I think a good one. I think the proposed changes are relatively minor. I think the applicant's done a really good job also of inventorying similar kinds of changes in the neighborhood and reflected that in his presentation. So I don't think the proposed changes, frankly, are major at all. In fact, they're quite minor. So I would support this application.
I would agree on with respect to the front yard parking. It seems that almost everybody is parking in the front yard based on what I saw. So I don't think the proposal is out of character at all. Are there any other comments?
No, I agree with everything that has been said, and if Mr. Clay's brought a motion forward, I'm happy to second that motion.
Okay. Go for it.
Yes, I will. I will move a motion. There are no. There's an urban forestry report.
No, there is, but I can't find a condition. It's blank.
Oh, yes.
There's urban forestry.
Or is there one? No, it's okay. There's no condition. The address is there, but nothing's checked
Yes, you're
off.
right.
Yeah,
You're right.
I know.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll move a motion to approve this proposal.
Alrighty. Do I have a seconder?
Second it.
Okay, I have a motion to approve, moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved.
Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thanks, same to you. Okay. Item number 18 is 40 Beaver Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevation. We have correspondence in support from Sylvanan Danathan and Mano Kararjani at 42 Beaver Avenue. And if the agent could, for the record, please state her name and address.
Hi, it's Maxine Shabsov, agent for the owner for 40 Beaver Ave.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation on this item? No? Do you have any questions of the agent? Yes? Okay, Ms. Valentini, go ahead.
Two questions. The first is relating to the variance for front yard softscape reduction from 75% to 29.8%. The first thing I'd like to know is what your current front yard softscape is at. And the other relates to the front walkout, which are, can you speak to how that fits in with what's currently in the neighborhood in terms of other front walkouts?
Yes, the front yard currently is all grass, and we're not changing that. I think the variance occurs because there's so little of the front yard of the property that we actually is on a property, not city property. So the city property, the front yard is largely city property, and we can't count that as soft landscaping. So that's why the percentage seems so off. In terms of other walkouts in the area, actually there are lots of them, 30, 32, 34, 28. It's quite a dense neighborhood with a lot of semis, and they a lot of them do seem to have basement apartments, which have doors facing the front.
That's what I noticed as well. I feel like there is a lot of walkouts in that area. But can you, so right now, I understood from the plans that most of the softscape was on City Boulevard. In terms of what you currently have on your portion of the property, your client's portion of the property, it certainly must not meet the softscape requirement of 75% in its current state, or does it? Do you know?
I doubt it would be. The porch takes up probably that portion existing, so I don't see how we could have met it any way.
Okay, thank you.
Are there
I'll just make an observation, picking up on Lisa's point about front egress. I know when council adopted the provisions to allow for secondary suites, they were quite specific about, surprisingly quite specific about prohibiting front yard entrances to secondary suites. I'm not sure I agree with that, but that was council's view. It seems to me this issue varies from neighborhood to neighborhood, though. It's a good point to note that there are others on the street and in the neighborhood that have these already. They're existing. And while notwithstanding sort of the provisions that council adopted, it just seems to me that these kinds of things allowing, well-designed egress into the basement is the kind of thing that just makes sense. It's not a view other than an observation that there is this, sometimes this conflict between council's kind of perspective on this and in many cases what's the reality in certain neighborhoods and what's practical in terms of allowing for, again, more rental accommodation in existing neighborhoods, which I think we all support. So I'm not going to oppose it because I think it in this instance particularly makes sense, but I do just note that there is this conflict between these kinds of applications and specifically what council adopted when they allowed and approved for secondary suites.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's a good point that Larry has raised, and even just looking at the floor plans, I'm not sure how there could be any other way to accommodate an entrance to the basement if it's converted to a unit. It's not like this, there's a vestibule and they can be stairs off the front vestibule. So I'm not sure what other option they have in this case, but I'm not an architect. I could be wrong.
Okay, any other comments?
I'd just say that I think, I agree with what's being said. It's a tight area, but I think that most of where the stairs are going is already paved from my understanding of the plans. And I think the proponent has done a good job with a nice clean screen in front of it too, to kind of satisfy maybe some of the city concerns that Larry had raised. But yeah, I'm all for more units. So I think this is a solid plan.
Okay, I would agree with everything that's said. I think that what's being proposed fits in the context. There's lots of other basement access apartments that I saw. But I'll leave it up to one of you to move a motion.
Sure, I'll move a motion to approve with no conditions.
Okay, I have a motion to approve moved by Mr. Reid. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Clay. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved.
Thank you.
The next item is item number 19, 37 Mountview Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a staff report asking for forestry condition number 2, 3 form letters in support, signed by 34, 35, and 39 Mountview Avenue. So that would include both adjacent neighbors. The agent could please state his name and address for the record.
Yes, hi, this is Ben Domingos, the agent and the architect for this project. My address is 133 Evans Avenue, Toronto.
Thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation from the agent? Okay, do any of you have any questions of the agent?
No.
Okay, seeing none, so then we can take this straight into committee. Any discussion? Okay, everybody's looking.
I would.
Yeah, busy looking at their screens. Okay.
No, I noted that yeah, I think most of what's happened is a rebuild of the existing place, right? And so that is right away to me a kind of, it softens the impact of what's going to happen. And I think the footprint is similar to a lot of houses in the area. And also the new garage, I found it interesting that usually we see garages built out right to the fullest extent possible or more. And so I think that this is kind of nice to have just like a little some old school garage going in. So yeah, all the variances really are quite minor, I think, when we judge it against the existing numbers. So I would be in support of this.
Any other comments from the other two members, or?
I'm fine with it. I agree with Peter's points.
Okay, Mr. Reid, did you want to go ahead with a motion then?
Sir, I move to approve subject to urban forestry condition number 2.
Okay, I have a motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reid, including forestry condition number 2. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, the application has been unanimously approved. Okay, our final item today is number 20, 92 Scarborough Road. Committee, we have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and we have forestry asking for condition number 2. If I could ask the agent to please identify herself, name and address.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Vermeulen from 16 Degree Studio, and I'm the architect and agent for the owners at 92 Scarborough Road.
Thank you. Panel members, do you need a presentation on this item? No? Okay, do any of you have a question of the agent?
This is just building a second story addition above an existing
Correct.
first floor. So you're not extending the footprint, you're not going any deeper.
No, exactly.
So it's just a deck and an FSI.
Yes. And a very minor height.
Right, your FSI is just going up, just really small. Small.
We are actually allowed to go up to 0.69, but not if you've put on an addition within the last 5 years, which their ground floor addition was built in 2017.
Right. That's fine. You've seen the urban forestry report?
I have, yes.
Are there any
In
other?
terms of neighboring I have a question or comment. In terms of neighboring properties on either side, the adjacent neighbors, I've noted from the plans and views that one's a 3-story and the other's a 2-story. So in terms of the height variance and the overall impact and the size of your client's property, it's going to fit in with what's on either side?
Yes, we believe it is. It has a flat roof, so it's actually significantly lower than the roof of the existing house, which is a pitched roof. And our clients have spoken to all 9 of their adjacent neighbors, and none of them had any concerns.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
No.
Okay, so we'll take it into committee.
That's a neighborhood which appears to be, getting a lot of investment, a lot of people putting additions onto their houses or building height, new stories. So I think it fits. I was just looking at the neighborhood, and it fits quite well, I think, into the neighborhood. The fact that it's just a second story over an existing first story, and it's done with respect to the neighbors, and I think the variances being requested consequently are relatively minor, and I would support approving this application.
If there are no further.
I'm happy to.
Yeah, are you seconding? So that.
I'm seconding. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a motion yet, so I just wanted to make sure nobody had anything else to add. So, okay, Mr. Clay.
Sounded like a good motion, didn't it?
It did. It sounded like an amazing motion.
Okay, so Mr. Clay, are you moving the motion then?
Yes, I'll move a motion to approve this application subject to the urban forestry report and condition.
2.
Condition number 2.
Alrighty, I have a motion to approve the application, including forestry condition number 2, moved by Mr. Clay, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Okay, your application has unanimously been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this ends our afternoon session, so we're adjourned at 2:28. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and everybody else.
Chair, see you guys.
Cheers. First one ever, under your belts. Way to go.
Thank you, Anita. Great job, staff.
Yep, everybody,
Exactly.
thank you. It went very well.
Right on.